Jaksha, Regional Director with Headwaters RC&D and the Small Business Development Center. Thank you for joining me for Innovation Hub 2020. And a huge thank you to the Governor's Office of Economic Development for having us. Today we're going to focus on the next 12 months of your small business. So here goes. How to prepare your small business for the next year and get some small business relief. My name is Julie Jaksha, and I am the Regional Director here at Headwaters. I was named the Montana State Star in 2014 and 2019. I'm a Montana Ambassador, and this year I was accepted into the Montana Leadership Program, so I'm super excited about that. I was married 25 years this year, COVID of course, and I'm the mom to 3 beautiful kids. I love to hike, camp, fish, be out on the lake, be out on the rivers. I enjoy anything outdoors, and I'm super excited to be here with you today to talk to you about small businesses. The hard days are what make you stronger. This quote really impacted me. I think that the last 6 months after COVID hit and the shutdown happened were extremely hard, not only on me personally, but on all of the businesses that were impacted throughout our region. I took phone calls from folks that were making super hard choices about whether to stay open, whether to close their business, whether to lay folks off, whether to hire. You know, believe it or not, I did have some businesses that, you know, exceeded sales expectation, and they looked to add staff during COVID and during the shutdown. But what really resonated with me was they were putting the people first, all of them. Every business owner that I talked to, it wasn't about their bottom line. It wasn't about their inventory. It wasn't about their business. It was about their employees. It was about their staff. It was about the families that they served, the communities that they served. It was really important to them to stay open because they were, you know, maybe the critical business in town that the folks needed, or maybe it was a place to get food, or maybe it was a place for the truck drivers to stop. Whatever story I heard, they were all very impactful to me because I was really overwhelmed by the fact that they were worried about each other and worried more about how they were going to get through the next few months and how they were going to make sure that all of their friends and neighbors in the communities got through it with them. So I can honestly say I put in some really long hours talking to folks, but it was some of the best conversations and some of the most meaningful work that I've done over my 12-year career in this position. We're going to walk through this today, and I want you to be aware of a few things. As we were doing this slideshow, I know that you might not see it for a couple more weeks, but I want you to be aware that some of the programs that we're going to talk about may still be open and the funding may still be available, or by the time that you actually do this class and watch this, they may have expired. So keep in mind that I'm going to cover a lot of material, and what I want you to take away from this is the knowledge that there are things out there that can help your small business. You just need to reach out for help. The Small Business Development Centers, there's 10 of us across the state, and I'm going to bring up a map for you there. This shows where we're all housed within these economic development organizations. Please reach out to one of us and get connected. We can be a great conduit to a bunch of programs that you're not familiar with as a small business owner and that you don't have time to research, but we can tell you how it can impact your business and hopefully guide you to get you some help or guide you to get you some tools that will help your business grow, expand, or survive the next few months. So do make that connection with your small business development centers. If it's the only thing that you take away from this presentation, reach out. And you can reach out to me, and if I'm not your SBDC, I'll make sure that I'll connect you with whoever can help you in your area. Today's agenda is to just get prepared. That's the one thing I want to talk about today. Get prepared, plan, plan, plan. I can't focus on that enough. Rethink how you operate your business. I know that a lot of folks have had to take a step back and look at how they're doing business to see if it's, you know, the most productive way to do business. They've had to look at staffing, they've had to look at inventory, they've had to look at their menus, they've had to look at what they're carrying in their store, their business hours, all of it. They've had to basically start back at square one, and I think that that's great because it's given them the opportunity to rethink how they're doing business. Be prepared to pivot. That is something that through COVID I saw a lot of. I saw folks just, I mean, they really stepped up and they astounded me with the changes that they made and how quickly they adapted and how quickly they made that happen so that their business could survive. And I think that, you know, as we kind of catch our breath here, to be prepared if you have to pivot, will probably make it a lot easier on you, a lot easier on your staff, and a lot easier on your clients. So be prepared to pivot. Know what your options are and what programs are available to help. As we work through the process, so many folks would say, you know, I'm so grateful that I reached out today because I had no idea that all of these programs were out there to help me. I had no idea that this all existed. And that's why we're here. That's what our job is to make sure that you're informed, that you know where you can lean on for money, for resources, for technical assistance. Super important for a small business. Make the ask. That's the other thing that I really focus on, is make the ask. You don't know what you are eligible for. You don't know what kind of lending you can get, what kind of financing from your banker until you make the ask. So, you know, rather than sit in your store or sit at home and worry about the future of your business, you know, start working with someone, whether it's your accountant, your lender, your legal team. Reach out to your small business development center. And then they'll coach you through how to make that ask to help your small business, and constantly be reevaluating. Things are changing every day. So it seems like we just get over one hurdle and 4 more pop up, or sales just start to climb back up and then something will come and you'll see sales slip again. So I think that you have to constantly be looking at that and reevaluating and pivoting as we work through that process, right? You want to get through the next 12 to 18 months, and you want to do that in the most productive way. So we need to plan now to get you to the other side of this. Start, grow, expand, and recover. This is my favorite slide in this whole presentation, because whether you're a startup company, whether you're looking to grow and expand your footprint, or whether you're a business that's out there that needs to recover from everything that's happened over the last few months, we are here to help you get through all of that. We're going to walk through some information that I think is going to be very beneficial, and I want you to know that there is help for you here. So as we go through these next few slides, take a minute to think about how they impact your business, what it means to your business, things that you could be looking at or changing, and then let's get together and talk about it. New and existing businesses. So a lot of times folks say, you know, I only need a business plan if I'm a new business. And I would say that that's really true. You do need a business plan if you're a new business. But even if you're a business that's been in existence for 20 years, you need to be going back and looking at your business plan. Maybe you never wrote a business plan in your business. So write a 3-pager, write out your executive summary. Tell me what the footprint of your business is, how you operate your business, what happens if there's a disruption to that operation, who handles things then, and then talk to me about how you market your business. Those are the 3 critical things in a business that you need to really focus in on, is what your business is, who's operating your business and how you're marketing your product and how you're getting it out there to your customer and connecting with your customer. So if you're a new business, you know, yes, I want you to work on a business plan. I want you to do the best business plan you can, because it forces you to think about things that you may not have thought of when you get up and operating in business. If you're an existing business, I want you to focus on your business plan, because as you can see, over the last 6 months, we've had to pivot. We've had to change things. We've had to change the way we do business. And while you couldn't have planned for that in a business plan, you could have maybe strengthened your operational plan. You maybe would have put into place some things. If, you know, X, Y, and Z happened in my business, this is what I'm going to do. Maybe you would have looked at some supply chains. I know I've dealt a lot with my clients who are having trouble getting inventory in. They're having trouble getting you know, suppliers to fill their orders for them. They're running out of things continually. So those are things that, you know, between your inventory and what you need to just, you know, be a basic business, hopefully by looking at your business plan, you can step back and see where maybe you can change some of that. You know, instead of one supplier, maybe you go out and find 2 or 3 other suppliers that can help you in case you need it for backup. So that's just some examples, but that's one thing that I think is really important, is to either write a business plan, go back and look at your existing business plan and tweak it, if you will, change it so that you know what you're facing. And then if you're a new business, of course, having a business plan is critical to you. Financials are the next part. I like my clients to keep a 3-year projection. I think 5 years is a little far out, but a 3-year projection seems pretty doable to me. Plan over the next 3 years. Like, what does the next 3 years in your business look like? When are you going to add staff? When will you add any capital purchases? When are you looking to maybe buy a building or upgrade? some equipment, or what are your financial needs as you work through the next 12, 24, 36 months. Super important. And out of your cash flow, when you do those financials, what you're going to get is you're going to get your working capital needs. And we're going to talk a little bit about working capital needs. We had a lot of folks that reached out to us during the pandemic, and they used some retirement funding. Some used personal credit cards to get them through. Some borrowed money from friends and family to get them through. Some stopped taking a paycheck or laid off employees, really cut their inventory, cut all their marketing. Whatever the case may be, your working capital in your business, we can project it out. We can see where the shortfalls are going to come, and hopefully we can plan enough working capital to get you through the next 12, 18 months so that you don't have that constant up and down cycle that you run into when you don't plan for your working capital. And then a collateral list. So the reason why this is really important is because a lot of business owners don't really know what they have for collateral, what they could be using as an asset in their business, and that they could actually put it to work for them. So I think it's important to have a current collateral list, all your furniture, fixture, and equipment within your business, anything that you have tied to the business that you're willing to put up for collateral. If you own your building, if you don't own a lease on it, or if you do owe a lease on it, or what you owe on your building is super important. But that collateral list helps us help you structure better. So that's one thing that I think is important for business owners to know. The next slide, a few slides from now, is going to talk about financing those assets. And so we're going to walk through that. This was something that I found really interesting. Small businesses are still hurting, which I think we're all really aware of. Even in our region, we see that, and across the state, where they're not back at full capacity. They're not opened all the way. They've had to lay off staff or change the way that they hire their staff back. They're having trouble getting workers. I know a lot of small businesses right now are struggling through that. They can't get enough staff to, adequately staff their stores. 22% of small business owners said that their business's sales levels are 50% less than where they were before the pandemic. 28% said their business sales are at 50 to 74% of pre-crisis levels. 50% reported that their sales are back where they were. I think we've seen some of that here where, as things started to lessen, and we were allowed to travel and we were allowed to get out and enjoy things, I think you did see some businesses get some of their sales back that they had been missing. But 14% folks said their sales were higher. I know I've seen that with some grocery stores, lumber stores, camping stores. I think I've seen an increase because more folks are doing that to social distance. That makes sense. I know that I watched an article last night about KOA. KOA has actually seen an increase in people that are visiting KOA sites. So I think that there are some that the pandemic has actually increased their business footprint, but for the majority of them, most are right in that 50%, 50 to 75% sales. They've seen some of it come back, but not all the way. When they compare to last year's number, they're not as strong, but it's not as bad as they were bracing for. So how soon will business conditions return to normal and the pre-pandemic levels? I wish that I could tell you that. I wish I could forecast that for everybody, because I think it's a big worry on a lot of business owners' minds is, how soon can we look to business getting back to normal, where I can employ who I employed and I can do business the way I've always done business, and we're going to continue to see our business grow. So 19% believe that business conditions will get back to normal during 2020. 52% of small business owners believe that it will take until 2021 for business conditions to improve to normal levels. I thought that that was a really big percentage, 52%. 20% believe normal conditions will not return until 2022. And then 9% say that normal conditions will not come back until after 2022. So I think it depends what industry you're in and how you look at when your business might come back, when your market might be there. I saw where the cruise lines, unfortunately, they shut the cruise lines down for a more extended period. So of course, businesses that relied on that are not going to see that tourism come back. I think that you'll see some of that here across our state, where maybe it's going to take a little bit of time for people to still want to come back and still want to do the things that they did before COVID. So I do think you're going to see it both ways, but we're suggesting to our customers to plan 6, 12, and 18 months out. So 6 months is your upcoming period that you want to get ahead of in case things do not go well for the next 6 months. 12 months gives you a little bit of breathing room to make some bigger decisions about expansion or pivoting or things you want to change within your business. E-commerce would be one of those things. Maybe it's a product line that you've seen become extremely successful in your business and you want to expand that. Maybe it's a product line that you've seen shrink in your business and you want to, tear it back a little bit. Whatever the case may be, doing your financials, looking at your business plan, and then making those decisions based on what you're seeing is the best thing you can do for the health of your business. Making an informed decision. You cannot, unfortunately, you cannot prevent things like COVID from happening. Nobody could have predicted what was going to happen in March. Not to the degree that it happened, I don't think. Not until right before it happened. I know that I never saw our entire country shutting down businesses, and I never saw folks being, homebound and not working and not traveling into their offices. I couldn't have seen that coming. But I think what's important is we want to just build our business plan going forward from here, and we want to be prepared for whatever the next, period of time comes, whatever comes through that, whatever it is that our business has to go through, so that in 24 months, possibly 36 months, we come out of it. And we're still a strong business. We're still keeping people employed. We're still in our communities, helping our communities thrive. And we're still doing what we want to do with our business. That's the most important thing. This was an interesting graph that I found. This was from the 1980 when we had the economic turn down there. And as you can see, the way that things went, it went into the, it almost resembles a W, if you will. A lot of economists are predicting that post-COVID will look a lot like a W. So if you think about when sales fell off and we took a significant drop in our revenues, and then they started to climb back up, they are predicting that we may see some sales be a little bit of a drop in the fall, going into the winter months, and then they're hoping that by the spring of next year, we start to see that W climb back up. And that's what they're predicting right now. A lot of economists, there's been some discussion about if that'll hold true or not, but the majority are thinking that that's what's going to happen in our economy. So as we work with our clients, that's why we're so focused on helping you get the working capital and helping you get the assets for your business and helping you plan for that time period, so that you're not counting on it to just be like a check mark, if you will. It came down and it's going to go up. We're not going to have any problems, but we want you to be more planned for what if. So what if things are great in the summer? We had a fairly decent summer season here, but now maybe if things start to trickle off, how does your business prepare for that? And how can you ensure that your business stays healthy during that time? What to focus on for the next 6 to 18 months. This is really hard, and I know that for a lot of business owners, the last few months have been exhausting. I have talked to a lot of small businesses, and they've gone through a lot. And I just keep them moving forward, right? So the next 6 to 18 months, we want to plan what are the areas of your business that are driving the most value right now. I've had some restaurants that have closed their inside dining and they're just doing carry out and delivery. I've had some that have, traditionally done big weddings or big parties or corporate events. Of course, they've had to pivot and go another direction because social distancing just doesn't allow for that anymore. And so they're finding more diverse ways to do business. A couple of them have rented like a truck, and they're selling like a taco truck, if you will, or they're selling their product out of a truck so that they can be more mobile. Some of them have gone to reaching out to local coffee shops to put their product in the coffee shops, or to put their product at other places that are staying open. And they're working together. I've seen a lot of business owners do joint projects. So maybe, you have a restaurant that hosts another type of business. We've seen online collaboration between businesses do very well. So I think it's just focusing on what is the most value right now in your business, and then looking at how you can grow that. And maybe that means that you have to scale back things that are not working good in your business. I had a business here that I worked with for a long time, and she actually closed her retail store. She said that, she felt unsafe being in the store. She felt that now was the time for her to exit, and that her clients would follow her to an e-commerce site. So she went out and she set up an amazing e-commerce site, and her sales have maintained. People are finding her. She's marketing, she's reaching out, she's making phone calls and Facebook posts and Instagram posts, and she's, got a newsletter, and she's really focused on growing that e-commerce site, because she realized that for her, keeping the retail location was not a viable way for her to move forward as a business owner. She still kept her 2 employees. They still check in with her. She has them mailing things and packaging things and doing her inventory. So none of that has changed as far as her employees, but the way that she does business has drastically changed. The next thing that I wanted to talk to you about was pay off your debts as soon as possible. So through COVID, I had folks reach out to me that maybe borrowed IRA funds to get through the time while they were waiting for some permanent financing to come in. They maybe took a loan for mom and dad or grandma and grandpa, or friends and family, or some folks have just been putting it all on a personal credit card. Whatever the case may be, and whatever you are working on paying back, now is a good time to try to do that, right? So sit down, make a budget, pay those debts off as soon as you can, and don't take on new debts right now. I mean, once you look at your financials, of course, with a professional, whether it's an accountant, the Small Business Development Center, whoever looks through your financials with you, your coach, maybe you have a coach that's helping you, your business coach, you want to make sure that you're paying those debts down, you're concentrating on that debt, especially higher interest. You can look at it 2 ways. You can go from smallest debt to largest, or you can go from the most expensive to the least expensive, but focus in on that as a business owner. And also, this is kind of in reverse to what my first point is, but now's a good time to reach out to your lender and say, I need a working capital line. I need a working line of credit. I need something that is there for me so that if things don't go as planned over the next 6 to 18 months, I have some funding that can help me get through that. A lot of businesses were fortunate enough to take advantage of the PPP. A lot of folks were fortunate enough to take advantage of the EIDL loan. I know that where I work, we had an economic recovery loan, so that if your business was struggling to get through COVID, you could apply for that. But as we see those types of loans start to go away, you really need to plan to secure your own business. And a working capital line of credit through your local lender is a really smart thing to do now. 2 things that I've learned in the lending process is, 1, it's really hard to get money when you truly need it. I guess I should change that to when you're desperate for it. It is really hard to get money. And secondly, a lot of folks don't want to get a line of credit because they feel like, it's kind of a waste to just have it sitting there. But with what we've seen over the last 6 months, having a line of credit is really important to the health of your business. And you can, working through your financials, you can tell what you need, 25,000 up to 50,000. Some businesses are going to need much more. Some businesses are going to need much less. But that access to capital is what's important now, that you have the access, and that you're not relying on credit cards, and you're not relying on friends and family to help you get through this, but that you are self-sustaining and that you have some kind of an operating line. So, reach out, talk to someone, try to forecast what you're thinking for the next, 2 years of your business, and then get a line in place. The lines typically cost anywhere, a commercial line will run between $150 to $500 annually. Typically, shop around if you're not happy with the rate or the term of those loans, but lenders are there to help you get through that, and having a working capital line is really, really smart. If you have a working capital line that maybe you maxed out throughout all of this, talk to your lender about, can I increase my line, and what comes along with that increase? Is that something that they would recommend? Or maybe you could turn it into a smaller loan and pay it off faster, but at least have the conversation with your banker about a working capital line. Explore recession-proof business models and opportunities. What I mean by that is there's nothing really recession-proof in a business. You don't know what's going to happen with the recession if it does happen. I think that by planning, looking at your business plan, focusing on getting some capital in place, keeping your marketing up to date and fresh so that your clients can find you, whether you switch to an e-commerce site, whether you feel like, changing a business model within your business is the timing right for that. Those are what they're talking about with recession proof. COVID has shown business owners one thing: you cannot continue to do business as you've always done it. It was a real eye-opener for a lot of business owners. You wake up in the morning and you're having to lay off half of your staff, or you're having to make cuts to salaries, or you're having to, buy equipment so that folks can work from home. Whatever the case may be, it impacted pretty much every business. And so having, a good plan in place for how you move forward if something like that happens is really smart. And I don't know that you can ever really recession-proof your business, but you can make the impact of a recession so that you come out the other side. You can make good decisions now that'll help you get to the other side of a recession should one happen. And I think that's what I'm just trying to get across to you is don't wait until things happen. Do it now. Do it today. Sit down. Start making your plan. Talk to your banker. Talk to your accountant. And pay attention to your numbers. That's a big thing too for clients. I work with a lot of folks that are working in their business and they haven't really stepped back and taken the time to work on their business. The one thing that you have to be looking at right now is your numbers. You want to know what your sales are. You want to know what your cost of goods are. Is there any way to drive your cost of goods down? You want to look at your labor costs. Are they in line with where you were last year? When you look back at the sales that you're experiencing, or maybe you overstaffed. I know that I was down in Bozeman at a local restaurant, and we were there on an invite, and we were kind of watching things, and the restaurant actually had 8 employees there. And the 2 in the back were, prep cooking, and there was a dishwashing person back there, and there was 2 waitresses, and then the rest of the staff was just sitting at the bar waiting for clients to walk in. And when I met with that business owner afterwards, I said to them, why do you do that? Why do you have extra staff that just, really didn't have anything to do? And she said, well, I'm afraid not to have them there in case business walks in. And she said, I can't expect my team to cover the entire restaurant if business walks in. And I said, but that's 3 people that you're paying for. And I believe it was 3 people. It might have even been 4 actually, but that you're paying for, and you only have, the whole time we were there, we were in the restaurant, maybe 2 hours, she turned 4 tables and there was 2 tables waiting. So, it's looking at things like that to make sure that you're properly staffed, to make sure that you've thought things out. And, if you're a business that, maybe works from home and, you've decided to buy all of your equipment for your staff so that they can work at home, just make sure that you're buying things that you actually need, things that make it more progressive for you, make it better for your business. I think that's what I'm trying to get across to you, and paying attention to your numbers so that if there's needs out there that you need to meet, you can actually with what you're making. So looking at your numbers will tell you all of that. And of course, that goes back to what we talked about, the working capital and the access to credit, and how you need to look at that now versus waiting. Some quick tips that I have for you about your business plan and your sales and marketing strategy and your e-commerce. So definitely update your business plan, whether you're a new business, whether you're existing, it doesn't matter. Pull it off the shelf, look at it, have your assumptions changed? What about the way you sell products? Have your products changed? Who's your ideal customer? Has your market shifted, who your target customer is? Are you hitting that target market? Are you getting word to them? A lot of folks rely on social media as a way to market because, of course, it's free, but is that actually getting to the end user of your product? Maybe MailChimp would be better, or Constant Contact. Have you reached out? Are you doing surveys to see if people are happy with your product? Reevaluate your sales and marketing strategy. What can you do to find new customers? what can you do to sell more to your existing customers, or how can you get into new markets? And then embrace e-commerce. Online sales have been one of the biggest bright spots for 2020. We've seen e-commerce take off. Folks are buying online, they're shipping online, they're sending presents online, they are buying anniversary gifts, Christmas, wedding, Easter. All of that is going to shift, I think, to more online than walking into a store. But if you're a business that just has maybe you have your store site and you don't have e-commerce yet, there's ways for you to actually market your product through Facebook. So take pictures of what's on your store, get it out on Facebook, still do your marketing and your sales through that. But it's just kind of being creative in how you do that, right? And looking at what's working and what's not working. I know that I worked with a client, he was spending huge amount of monies on a website, and he was running an Instagram page. And when we sat down and actually talked about it, it turned out that more people were buying from him on his Instagram page and finding him than they were through his really expensive website. So he pared down his website and he started shifting more to focus on his Instagram. And then he shifted over to like an Etsy listing, and he did a couple of other things, really smart campaign with a social marketing. And then he also did a mail campaign, you know, a MailChimp campaign, and that was really successful for him. But he was able to save some money on his website and scale it back a little bit and still keep his customers informed and happy with his sales. So reevaluate your cost structure. How can you start or expand your business with the lowest possible cost? So that's just basically you taking an inventory of what you as a business owner are spending money on, and then looking to see if there's, you know, a better, cheaper method to do it. So you know, if you are paying X, Y, and Z for insurance, maybe now is the time to call around and get a couple of other quotes for business insurance. If you're paying for, you know, website hosting, maybe now is the time to call. Same with your telephone. Anything that's like an overhead cost to you that you could possibly save money on, now's a good time to call. Can you bootstrap? How much can you afford? How can you avoid taking on a lot of overhead costs? That's something else to think about. How can you run your business as efficiently as possible without spending a bunch of money? And I've actually seen a lot of people do really well with this. You know, they changed their Go Box containers. I know that I had a person reach out to me. They shared how much that they were spending on their Go Boxes, and they had shifted primarily to takeout. And so they said, you know, it's killing us. We don't know what to do. And we made a few phone calls to a few different, you know, local restaurant supply places, and they were able to find a better, more economical version of what they wanted for their Go Box. So it's just asking that question. And then recession-proof with your business and personal finances. I think that this just goes back to, you know, make a plan to be profitable, get out of credit card debt, whether it's personal or business. If you took out credit card debt to get through this, that's great. Get in touch with your lender and try to get a small loan to get it refinanced. The IDA loan is still available out there. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but get that debt down as fast as you can. Focus on it. You know, even if you have to adjust some things that you do in your business to get the debt paid off, super smart. You want to get rid of that. In a business loan will help you do that. This slide is focused really on proper debt structure. So through COVID, I learned a couple of things. I learned that a lot of folks in Montana don't have business licenses. I learned that a lot of them are not registered with the Secretary of State. So please, if you haven't done that yet and you're watching this, please make sure that you are. And then proper debt structure. So we have had a lot of business owners reach out with some financing requests. And so we talk to them a lot about making sure that your assets are financed properly so that they're working for you. You know, whether it's a 5-year loan on a building that you could stretch out to 10, possibly a 20-year term, or whether it's, you know, maybe they buy a car and they do the car for 15 years because they rolled it in with their building, but in 5 years they're going to need to replace that car and they're still going to be paying for that car, even though now they've had to go out and get another car for the business. So make sure that you sit down, you look at what you have, you know, currently loaned against, and look to make sure that it matches how long it should be lent on. So that's what this slide is showing you. Line of credit, typically takes care of small debts, cash flow, things that you don't normally push off more than 12 months to pay off. Accounts payable, you can have them go out a little bit longer. Working capital covers that. Seasonal working capital and accounts receivable. And then your fixed assets, so your equipment, your building, those types of things, how long they sit in your business and when they depreciate to a zero value too, are things to think about. Next, we're going to kind of cover the resources that I know that are still available to help small business owners, and there's a ton of them out there. So we're going to talk about everything that's currently available right now. Keep in mind that you may not be watching this presentation for a few weeks into October. It's October 3rd today when I'm recording this. So Congress just met on the HEROES Act, and it just moved over out of the Congress. It was approved. I don't know what's going to come out of that. I don't know what programs might be available at the end of that. So I'm just covering what's currently available. The EIDL loan is still available for small businesses. There's still funding opportunity there. The EIDL $10,000 advance, so they were giving you $1,000 per employee. That program is no longer available, but the EIDL loan itself is still available. The PPP is no longer available, and you have until December 31st currently to file your paperwork for forgiveness. I've been cautioning a lot of business owners and telling them to wait, because I do think that could possibly be some kind of a blanket forgiveness, or perhaps a program with, if you're under this amount, you don't have to complete the paperwork. I don't quote me, but I would wait until possibly after the election to work with your lender to get your PPP forgiveness paperwork filled out. You can reach out to us at the Small Business Development Center. We are trained on how to fill out that paperwork as well. But personally, my own advice, this is me talking, I would wait a few weeks and just see how things play out. The PPP has been a program that has saved a lot of small business owners. I think it's been really a great program. We have some amazing lenders across our state who did, 300, 400, 500 loans for small business owners. So hats off to you guys for doing such a great job to help Montana small businesses. But that's a lot of applications to process for Congress or the Senate or the president to turn around and say, we're going to blanket forgive all of you. So, congratulations. But that is my own personal recommendation, that you wait until after the election to fill out your paperwork. And like I said, please reach out to us. We will help you fill that out. Your banker can help you fill that out. I know that a lot of the banks have put the application online. And I guess I would say, if you 100% know that your business has utilized those funds and that you feel confident, then go ahead and fill out the paperwork. But if you're in doubt or in question and you're not really sure, continue to use the funding and then reach out to us after the election. That's just my own opinion. The Express loan is out there. It's a $25,000 loan. We're going to go through that. So this is the EIDL loan. This was available, if you remember, this was the first product that the SBA rolled out in response to the coronavirus to meet the financial obligations and operating expenses that could have been met had the disaster not occurred. The terms are 3.75 for businesses. That's a fixed rate. 2.75 for nonprofits. It's a 30-year loan, and there's no prepayment penalty. So you can pay that off at any time and not have to pay a penalty. It can be used for working capital and normal operating expenses. The collateral requirements are they do want collateral listed for any loans over $25,000. But again, it's not like you can't ask for the full amount with less than that for collateral. So really try to work through that process with your, you can reach out to your SBDC. We can help you fill out that application. It's a pretty streamlined application, and they're doing a great job about getting back to people as quickly as they can. They've come up with a product to bridge that, and that's the SBA Express Bridge Loan. So they'll give you up to $25,000 fairly quickly once you fill out the paperwork, and it allows you to wait for the EIDL loan to come through. The maturity on the EIDL loans are 30 years. It is not a forgivable loan. So that is something that I would tell you. It is not a forgivable loan. And yes, it did have the EIDL advance, but they've been fully allocated and they're no longer currently available right now. So This EIDL loan is still there. You can apply for it, but you're not going to get the advanced. So if you were a business that didn't take advantage of this back when it first came out, the $10,000 advance is no longer available, but it's still a great working capital line to go after. It's still a good line. The term is good, 30 years, 3.75, 2.75 for nonprofit. It's still a good loan to look at. On the SBA Express Bridge loan, the only thing that I would say is that they're trying to be really quick with this to help your interim need. So the $25,000 is a stopgap measure for them to get you some access to capital while they finish your EIDL loan application. The two programs that I pulled off of the Montana Department of Commerce website that I think are still currently available and are good for small businesses is the Business Adaptability grant program. So businesses and nonprofits eligible for reimbursement for personal protective equipment, business adaptations needed in response to the pandemic. I know that they doubled what they were giving you in the beginning, so you can ask for that more if you need to. And then working capital programs, so businesses are eligible for grant funds to support working capital needs, loans from eligible lenders. And that looks like October 23rd, 2020 is the deadline for that. So be sure to watch that deadline if you see this after that or shortly right around that time. The micro business finance program, so there are some MBDCs located across Montana. Headwaters is one of those. We do loans from $1,000 up to $100,000 to qualified micro businesses. You have to have fewer than 10 full employees and a gross annual revenue of less than $1 million in order to take advantage of this program. And we do provide training and technical assistance with this program as well. So you can reach out to the Montana Department of Commerce and find the micro business finance program out there and then see in your area who does these loans. I do know that in Southwest Montana, in our region, Headwaters is a micro business finance office. The Growth Through Agriculture program, I brought this up and I wanted you to be aware of it for those businesses that are currently doing something with an ag product. The Growth Through Ag has a grant program every year. They used to meet twice a year. It's now once a year. This cycle is now open. It will close on December 7th, 2020. I believe the pre-app is due on the 3rd of December if you want them to look at it and tell you what's missing. So pay attention to those deadlines. But this has been a really good program for a lot of our small business owners with value-added ag products. So we've had some bakeries take advantage of it. We've had some brewers take advantage of it. Some distillers have taken advantage of the program. They've worked with the program to get different funding. We have, everything from, cookies and oatmeal and leather care products. So this is something that you should just Google, Growth Through Ag program here in Montana, and see if your business fits into it. You can buy equipment with it, construction costs, advertising, promotion. I know that we worked with a local farm that was just starting into growing some really unique berries that are unique to the state. They were able to get some financing through this, some funding. So typically the award amounts, grants are up to $50,000, loans can be up to $100,000. There's 8 FADX centers across the state. If you're a value-added ag or you're in the ag business and you're looking for help with your business, meat processor, grow your own meat, you grow your own, grass-fed beef or pigs or whatever it is, reach out to these folks because this really is a good program. And a lot of small businesses don't know that they're eligible for this program, but they'll do a great job of walking you through this to let you know if they think you're a good fit. And then, as I said, the deadline is December 7th. Some other programs that I really want to touch base and talk about is the STEP program. So the STEP program is currently housed at the Montana Department of Commerce. If you're an exporter, this is a great program for you. It allows you to get funding to go to some international trade shows. And it is ran out of the Montana Department of Commerce. I do know that they have funding and they're trying to help businesses that want to export out of the country. The 504, SBA 504 and 7A programs. So the 7A programs you can pretty much access through your local lender. You can go to your local lender and talk to them about a 7A loan and what's required for SBA 7A loans. They're a great program because they will they will help your banker to make the loan to you. They guarantee, up to 75 to 90% of your business startups or your business expansion if you qualify. And they're a really good product, I think, for business owners that don't have a lot of assets or a lot of means to get started. The 504 program, they work independently. Again, though, you would start with your banker and then they'd reach out to the 504 program. They've had some really historic rates, under 3% on a lot of their products. So you want to reach out to them. They primarily finance brick and mortar projects. So the SBA 504 and the 7A programs are there to assist your small business. And it's just checking in with your local lender to see which one you qualify for. And if your project fits the parameters, then that's a really great way to get some help with some of your financing. We just closed the Indian Equity Fund grant opportunity, but I put it into the slides because I want you to be familiar with it for next year. So if you're a business that qualifies, you can look up this grant opportunity. It's a great grant opportunity. They give up to $14,000 per business. You have to be part of a Montana tribe in order to apply for this funding, but it is great. We've seen it work in our area. We've seen it make a big difference to a lot of small business owners. So watch for that to come up. That's usually a yearly program. Workforce training dollars. So there's a couple of different programs. The IWT, Incumbent Worker Training Program as well, is something that businesses can take advantage of. That gives your business up to $2,000 to get your employees certified in a new certification. And there's still funding available for that program. And then workforce training, there's a variety of options through the Big Sky Trust Fund and the workforce training program to help you hire on new staff and get them trained. They work with you so that you know what the minimum is in your area that you have to pay, but that helps with job creation and it will help offset some of your costs to getting new people up and going. So reach out to your local economic development agency if you have questions about that, or you can find more information on the Montana Department of Commerce website. Both are excellent programs. Both are very easy to apply to, great to work with, great to work through the process. In the Big Sky Trust Fund grant, they have some opportunity to help. And MBOI, so if you're looking for financing with your small business and you're working on a big project with your banker and you still need some help, the MBOI, Montana Board of Investment, they're out there. They can help with some projects too. I think they're really important for small businesses to know. The best thing though is for you to start with your local lender, your small business development center, and then work from there. We'll help you bring these tools, these resources, these programs that are out there to help you. We'll help bring them in line. I know we work with a lot of our partners across the state, the DBE program. We also work with PTAC and MMEC, the Extension Manufacturing Center. So, I can't go through everything in the presentation, but I want you to know that there's help for your small business. So when you watch this, and you think, is there something out there that can help my business? Please reach out to us. I know that there's funding to help if you're going into a new market and you need to get some marketing converted. We have funding for that. The Made in Montana program is still really active in trying to help small businesses. Just make sure that you reach out and you make those connections. I just wanted to finish with recapping everything that we kind of talked about. I think it's important to focus in on your business. Make sure that you have good conversations with your lender, your accountant, your team, maybe it's your management team. Talk to those folks, work on your business. Now is the time to do a lot of this. Now is the time to focus forward. I want you to feel free. I put my name and phone number up here as well as my email. Please reach out to me. I have worked with some amazing businesses across the state, and I have been in commercial banking for almost 25 years. I've seen everything. And that's what our jobs are, is to help you be a stronger business, to help you get through this really hard time, and to help you feel like you're not alone. I don't want you to feel like you're alone. So reach out to us. We're going to put you in connection with who we think can best help you. I can give you lots of examples. We had a gentleman reach out who just wanted some help on putting a business plan together. And through the conversation, you know, we started talking and we found that he was eligible for a grant opportunity that was coming up. And then we hooked him up with a couple of other programs that help you to do some, you know, sales, government contracting sales. And so we were able to make those connections for him. And then, you know, we were able to work with his lender and hopefully get some financing in place for his business. But I think that what's really important is for you to know that those resources are out there and available. That's one thing that I did learn through COVID, was that a lot of small business owners were not aware of all the programs that the state of Montana has to make you a better, more successful business. So don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to make the phone call. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to look to see what opportunities are out there for you. I think that the next 12 to 18 months are going to be challenging for everyone. I do believe that, but I think that we can get through it. I think that you've got people that are willing to help you and that are here to help you. So I just want to leave you with that. And thank you for joining me today. I hope that you got a lot of good information. And like I said, please, if you have any questions or anything that you'd like to talk to me about, reach out. My name is Julie Jaksha, and you can see my email there, jjaksha@headwatersrcd.org. My direct line is 406-533-6780. And thank you. You have a great day.